Okay, should just be a moment or two here.
Got it.
Okay, we are live today. Welcome, everybody. This is Brian Terrian from the Disability Digest. Welcome to our Wednesday live event. Special event in store for you today. Can't wait to get started with this. So regardless if you are like going through the disability approval process, you know, you're maybe still working full time or you're approved. If you are looking to get like some inspiration, some ideas, some things that you can do from a real life experience, that's what we have in store for you today with Salla Västilä, who is our special guest here today. Thanks for joining us. All the way from Newcastle, England, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Hi, guys. So I'm originally from Finland, but I'm now living in UK.
Yes, wonderful. And before we get started with Salah, I also want to introduce to you for the first time in public here at the Disability Digest, which is Erwin. Thank you for being here with us today. Erwin is going to moderate today's event, take some questions at the end. But I just want to share a little bit about Erwin before we let him actually do his job. He is new here at the Disability Digest, but he's not new to helping people get their disability benefits or keep them or advocating for people. He's done this since 2020, quite some time. So it is a joy to have him here. And he positions himself as not just an advocate, but actually an individual with some karma, where he has this, and you can see it in his work, where he believes what you give out comes back. So if, you know, he doesn't just go through the motions, he's actually deeply invested into doing this work. So if you're a member here at the Disability Digest and you so happen to be in Erwin's workflow, be prepared to ask some very detailed questions, because he's really going to want to know like where you're at and what's going on so that he can help you out. So it's a privilege to have you here, my friend. Yep.
Thanks, Brian.
So great. So for today's event, we're going to learn about Salah, her work, and at the end, we're going to take some questions that you may have for Salah, if we can, you know, have you answer a few maybe extra tips that we can get. So that's what we have in store. You ready to go?
Yes, absolutely. I just wanted to say that, Erwin, that is so powerful. I love that so much. If you're looking for a new job, we might be hiring. Just
Hey,
I'd say poaching.
Hey, listen, if it happened to work out, you would be in a great place. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen for everybody out there. And I want to share about Salah's work. First of all, she runs an agency called Ainoa. And this is an agency that actually has helped us here at the Disability Digest with our messaging and our branding. And this isn't a business focused event, but the brand from a business perspective perhaps could be looked at as how you as an individual brand yourself, how you talk, how you dress, how you feel, right? I see you're nodding your head, so must be I'm doing all right with this.
Yes, I agree with this 100%. Well said.
Yes. And so for the Disability Digest, our consistency and our message and what we attempt to represent to make a difference in your lives is as a result of Salah's work. So, and we just are the shepherds that deliver, ideally.
Thank you, Brian. I cannot take all the credit, so I want to give credit where it's due. So Alisa, our copywriter and linguist, did the heavy lifting, and she's been absolutely brilliant.
Yes. Now, I just noticed something, and I want everybody, speaking of branding, to pick up on the color of the website with that nice orange, and then the attire today. Huh? Spot on. Huh? You got it. Well, I have blue. We have some blue in our logo.
Yeah, it counts. It counts.
It counts. So the reason why I'm excited for this event to have Salah here is because she has built a business despite the challenges that she has faced with suffering from her own limitations and health conditions, and you'll hear about that in a moment. So I'm just going through on her website some of the highlights that you have conveniently pointed out of like what you've done, and your business and what you're deeply passionate about is branding and design work for companies, as we've talked about. But I also see in here that you're still pursuing an MBA in digital marketing, and you're running a business. So
yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and maybe there's some other things down here I don't know about, but so this is the point of today's event, is that you might only have an hour or two a day or whatever your time is, but hopefully you can leverage some of these wonderful tips that you may learn here today to help you improve your life, maybe improve others, right?
Yeah, I would
So
really love that. I'm here to inspire, and I hope you can take something away from this session that is valuable to you.
yeah. So let's get started with this. With all of this, what are some of the challenges that you've faced and able to make this work?
That's a really great question. So maybe I should open up a little bit about my background first. So it's maybe like a bit more obvious what are the challenges that I'm facing pretty much in my daily life or weekly life or so. So I have chronic fatigue syndrome, and I'm also diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder that causes flashbacks, nightmares, social difficulties to be in social situations and just trusting people. It causes isolations, some physical symptoms as well, and things like that. So I have two very complex diagnoses, and I'm very open about them. But I want to take you back a bit when I started. So Aina was actually built on my burnout, so to say. So I worked in a regular company, and I burned out at the job. I just felt that it was just sucking life out of me. There's no beautiful way of putting it. That's what it was. The management was terrible, and it was just all in all exhausting. It wasn't motivating. I just felt that I'm not going anywhere. So I just burned out. And then I got very sick. First, I got food poisoning. Then I got COVID. It was very, very early of 2020. I got COVID, and then I got some mysterious complication right after that. And then after that, I just got very tired, and that never stopped for me. I'm still exhausted to this day, unfortunately. So I burned out, and I left my job, and I was kind of like exposed to new beginnings and new challenges that I never had been in before. So I had my skill set. I knew what I was capable of doing, and I knew that I was like multi-talented. I had a friend who worked in a startup, and then she was like, "Do you want to come work with us?" And I was like, "Okay." And then I became an entrepreneur. And the very same day I left my job. And that was it. It wasn't my first time as an entrepreneur, but it was a huge jump still, because I was still navigating my diagnosis. I was exhausted from the burnout and everything. There was so much going on. I also take part in NHS's employment services coaching or something like this. I don't remember the name. I am so sorry, Elsa, if you're watching this. I'm so sorry. I cannot remember still to this day the name of the service. But I get to work with amazing employment specialists who trusted me in what I'm doing. Because on the other hand, I was being told that it's not really a business if you work for just one company. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, and this is what you should do instead. I started to get bombarded with these kind of advices. And then there was Elsa, who was holding my hand and saying that you're doing great. You know, I have full faith in you, and regardless of your condition, I just have my full trust in you. So I think that was like the first obstacle that I had, that I got bombarded with unsolicited advice from other people who weren't in my shoes. And that's still an issue to this day. In some circles, I get advice like, and sometimes very unpolite comments, so like from people saying that, well, I'm sometimes tired too, but that's not what my condition is. But that was my very first obstacle, and I hope this kind of like opens up a little bit my background as well.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I think one of the biggest challenges, and there's I'm sure there's lots of people out there, is just it's difficult for other people to understand the complexity of health issues, right? Especially if they are, I'll use the term self-reported. I don't know if this is the right, term to use, but many people with chronic fatigue or other autoimmune conditions, they look fine to others.
Yeah.
So they're like, what's up? Yeah.
That's the problem as well. And sometimes I get very rude questions like, you don't look disabled. Yeah. And like, what do you want me to sit in some wheelchair or get some crutches or something like that?
Right.
It's really awful.
Right.
What you sometimes have to put up with, because like from my appearance, you could never guess what I'm actually dealing with behind the scenes.
Sure. Yeah, I don't typically like the word disabled. I minimize my use of it because I think that there's limitations for sure, but on the other side, there's always ability, in my opinion, limited to a different degree. So that's beautiful. So you have worked your way into this career because the life was sucked out of you at your job, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. And then it just came like the only option. I didn't see the way that I can go back to 9 to 5 in my condition where my struggles aren't understood.
Yeah. When you did the work for us, it was really clear to me, like professionally, your passion for doing this work. It just, it really resonated with us. And, others with disabilities, maybe they haven't found their passion. I mean, did this just like show up one day, or?
So I think what I do now at Ainoa is I get to combine all of my passions. So I have very, very wide professional background. So I studied graphic design, then I studied business, leadership, and just how to run a business basically. And then I studied psychology, and now I'm doing MBA in digital marketing. So in my eyes, what I'm doing, this is my dream job because I get to use all of the skills that I have acquired and keep acquiring. So it's combining all of them. So I got very lucky, maybe, or maybe I crafted my own luck.
Well, I look at it this way. I mean, you're kind of like you've managed to build a successful business with maybe like one arm tied behind your back because of your health, maybe even two, right? So from a business owner to a business owner, I have a lot of respect for you because it's
Thank you.
not easy
No.
to do this. Now, on the other side of that, there could be some forced efficiency because I know when I go through my day, there's stuff that I do that I shouldn't do. And do you find that you've got to be really careful with your time, right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if your followers or you are familiar with the spoon theory. I think that's very applicable. It's very applicable here. So you have to know your spoons because you have the limited amount of spoons, and each thing that you do in your business and then you do in your like personal life or whatever, it takes the one spoon. So you really have to know yourself to be able to run business, or you have to really learn on the go. And I kind of like mix both. Sometimes I worked too much, and then I'm in bed for 2 days because I cannot work. That's how it is. It's a balance. You have to find a balance.
A quick side note, the spoon theory I have shared with many, and it actually, the lady whose name escapes me, that created the spoon theory still is, I haven't heard from her in a while, a member here at the Disability Digest.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. That's according to the internet. That's a very trusted source. You got to believe everything that's out there on the internet, right? So when you're looking at this, with the limitations, let's just take the big picture of, I don't know how many people are out there live right now yet. I'll look in a minute, but there's typically thousands of people that watch this between the live and the replay.
Oh, wow.
And it's somebody that could be like, maybe they don't want to work, or maybe they do want to work. So I guess where I'm going with this is, any advice for like a benchmark of like, I want to kind of do something. How do I learn to manage my limitations? Like, is that something that could even be answered?
That's a very complex question. I think the best advice I can give to any aspiring entrepreneurs or anyone who's just dreaming of having a business, just try it. Just give it a try. Most people will never even try. So how you can know if you don't try?
Right. So, and this is kind of reflecting back a bit on going from having the life sucked out of you or juice sucked out of you to like being inspired now, right? Is there, and looking at the skills that you have and the disciplines and all of that, I guess what I'm wondering is, are you consistently engaged? Is it ongoing, or do you find times when kind of your passion might wane a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Especially with my conditions, it's sometimes the symptoms I get are so severe that I'm tied to bed and my partner has to help me to drink and
Oh gosh.
eat because I'm physically unable to lift my arms because I'm in so much pain.
Mm.
And those are the moments when I'm just really like thinking in myself, I'm just going to quit everything. I cannot do this. At those times when I'm experiencing such awful pain, and I feel like I'm like at the bottom of the curve, so to say, I feel like I'm there again, and it just feels too much. Everything is too much, and I'm sort of feeling like I'm going to quit tomorrow. That's it. I'm out. I cannot do this, because like sometimes, as I mentioned, sometimes if I work too much, it really worsens my symptoms. So I have to be careful. I have to learn to balance. But yeah, there are moments of like total hopelessness, but then there's always a new day. Just give it time. Give it time, and just believe in yourself. When no one else does, you have to believe in yourself. You have to become your biggest fan. And I think that's what I've become as well.
Your biggest fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Really. That's whew, it makes my knees shake. So the brand work, you see yourself staying in this like area?
Yeah, definitely. So I started with the design. So first degree ever I got was graphic design, specialized in print technology. And that's something that I've always been passionate about and still am. And I definitely see working in the industry. Also business development, helping companies to find their core and a unique selling point, and helping them to navigate business waters is really, really motivating for me. And then also there comes to work my third superpower, which is the empathy, which the whole company lays on, that consists of psychology, understanding psychology and data. It's like, as I said, every day I get to work in my dream job, a dream job that I created for myself. This is an opportunity that I created for myself.
Yeah, you were put here for a reason.
Yes, I feel so. I really feel so.
Yeah. So I want to pivot a little bit, because this is another really cool part of the work that you do. You're a company that not only do you have your own limitations, but you support other individuals that you actually have that are on your staff, your team, that work for you.
Yes.
So, and as we do here, we're committed to, so we're aligned, and that maybe that's why we get along so well. One of the reasons, who knows? But what are some of the things that you do to create an environment for others with conditions, limitations to succeed?
This amazing question, and I had a chat about this with my team because I wanted to have my team's input in this as well. But one of the biggest factors, interestingly, was a decision not to have an office. And while it serves different purposes, obviously it saves us money. It's for environmental reasons, because most of the client work we do is online. We meet clients online. It's very rare that I meet my clients face to face because, internet. But yeah, then also interestingly, when I asked if we had an office, would you come to an office? Most of the people said, not really. And for example, I want to quote our intern designer Nathan here, who has Asperger's, and he has given me permission to talk on his behalf in this interview. He mentioned that by not having an office, it's a huge relief for him and his condition personally, because he feels, well, not feels, but part of Asperger's syndrome is that you struggle to read social cues, maintaining eye contact, and for example, just a human touch, like a friendly tap on the shoulder, can feel really uncomfortable and make Nathan uncomfortable. So he feels that by not having an office, it's making him more comfortable to work with us. we also are huge advocates for flexible working hours. So we have a set hours in a day, which is our meeting time. When if there's any meetings happening, it's always within the same time. And this is 4-hour bracket. And if there's no meetings, you don't need to be present in this time. So with Ainoa, you're free to do your work whenever. And I think that serves modern life as well, because maybe you need to go pick up your kids from daycare, or maybe you need to go to get grocery. But especially if you have any limitations like I do, I need to take naps throughout the day. So in a regular workplace, it's not possible for me. I feel it would be very awkward conversation to have with someone like my boss in a traditional 9-to-5 job that, hey, I need to take my nap breaks between these times. So flexibility is very, very important to us. And then also flexibility on how to work. So we don't really have set methods of how do you do your work. You can find your own ways to do the work, or you can ask for help or some kind of frame or structure. That's as long as we get to the end result, that's all that matters. We have somebody who has autism in our team, and I have told them that it's totally fine if you do not attend the meetings. It's okay. You can just come in. You can just listen. You don't need to have camera on. You don't need to speak anything. You can use the chat function if you want to. But we are really trying to make the work as flexible as possible. And I think that's a huge priority. And that's how the modern workplaces should work.
Yeah, you get it. You get it. Good for you. And I mean, I can imagine the gratitude that people have to be able to have that, right? And what types of work are they doing? You don't have to reveal like but I'm just, for the audience that are out there, like, you don't have an office, so people aren't mopping the floor type thing. But I mean, what general types of work are going on?
Yeah, so we are a creative agency, and we do branding, social media, and campaigns. So most of our work is creative. So it's happening online, as I mentioned. So creative side, obviously branding, we're creating logos or colors and packaging design, web design, or something like that. That's one area we do. Then we have social media side. So social media, I think, could be really wonderful for people with disabilities, because it's such a huge spectrum. There's so many different things where you can specialize. For example, social listening alone is just an own skill. People are hiring social listeners. And what they do is that they scan social media to understand what is discussed about your business. So for example, this is really easy work, and it's very easy and accessible to get into. You don't need to understand too much about the industry. It's gathering intel and then delivering the intel. There are specific programs to do that as well, but you can do it manually. I think it's a great way to access and marketing of social media, if that's something you're interested. But social media is such a wide spectrum. So there's a lot of work.
Yeah, when somebody like positions themselves as a social media manager or expert, it's like it's not granular enough to understand what they do, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah. So there's a good tip for people out there listening. I didn't know that this was a thing, actually. I should, but I don't.
It's incredibly valuable. It can pay actually really well. So maybe look into that.
Okay, great. Yeah, drop us a comment if you're listening to the replay. And for those that are looking for work, you just gave us one tip here, and that's something that they could do on a flexible schedule. But are there any other like important things that people should consider that are job seekers with limitations to maximize their chances?
I cannot really speak for everyone. I can only speak for us, and I hope I can inspire some other employers maybe out there. But for us, when we are hiring, what I'm looking at and what our team is looking at is the cultural fit. That is incredibly important to us. Our values that you follow and demonstrate, are able to demonstrate the values. Then some level of expertise on entry-level jobs, it's not necessary. But I believe that skills can be taught, but values is a bit more difficult to teach someone.
Yes.
And also curiosity. And just wanting to learn new things. Those are the most important things for us. So if you are applying for us, definitely demonstrate these in interview. But for us, it's much more important that you fit into our culture that we have.
Right. Well, listen, if you are offering to hire, and you hire from anywhere, right?
Yeah, we hire internationally, yes.
Yeah. Well, we would be glad to put a link in the chat and the replay. Yeah.
Amazing.
We don't want to inundate your job board, but we would be glad to help.
I would recommend following our LinkedIn. We post all of our job openings there. I know we have some job openings specifically for in Sweden in very soon. Unfortunately, only Sweden this time, but just keep an eye on our LinkedIn page.
Okay. So this is for jobs. Let's pivot a little bit. Advice for aspiring entrepreneurs. If somebody wanted to do, start their own business or freelance, considering what you've shared so far, would the advice be different? Do you have any specific tips for them that you'd say, hey?
Yeah, I definitely do. So I would first of all, put yourself first. Your health must be the number one priority in your business. No questions asked. Because if your health gets worse or your condition gets worse, you're just risking losing everything that you built. So just listen to yourself, your body, and know your condition. That's like number one priority that I also have, and number one tip that I can provide. Secondly, find your why. I keep highlighting this for every single customer we have, especially startups. And Brian, we also discussed this with your team, but why finding your why is crucial is that when you know your why you're doing this, what for, it keeps you going. You really have to dig deep to understand and get that why. Just dig deep and grab it from there, and then you can put it on paper. You can create a wallpaper on your desktop or something like that you have your why there, and you remember why you started this, and just keep your eyes on that. Just align yourself with that why. It's really important, because you will have those moments as a business owner when you just doubt yourself, you doubt your skills, you doubt everything, and you want to throw everything away. That's unfortunately what being entrepreneur is, because you have to take huge risks sometimes. So when you have your why and you know it, it's much more easier to recover from those setbacks. And that's also something that helps me to get through the most difficult and most horrible days that I have, is that I remember, what is my why I started, what is my purpose, why am I going through this.
This is really good. So really good. Now I just want to do a little bit of a deeper dive on here. Somebody might say, all right, so well, my why is because I want to make money, and I don't expect that as detailed of a why that's going to work to keep somebody in the game. So can you just peel that back a little bit? What should the why entail?
So if your why is that I want to make money, we all do. Who doesn't? Because we need money for everything. But you need to dig deeper. Why you want to make money? Because there might be different reasons for that. Maybe you want to make money because you want to be able to support your family. That's your why. That alone could be a why. Maybe you want to make money because you want to have more time. Maybe you want to be able to afford to buy cleaner services or buy a nice holiday or something like that for yourself. So that could be a why, to be able to afford a nice lifestyle or something like that. So go beyond that. And then you can still ask yourself, why do I want to have nice lifestyle and so on? Just dig deeper. And then eventually you will find something that will resonate with you so deeply that it's just, that's your why. It will stick with you, I promise.
Awesome. So that's a big obstacle for people, is getting in, and regardless of your health, is sticking with it. So that's super powerful. What other like strategies do you have, or may you have, or practices that could knock out some other like big obstacles that people are going to face?
Yeah, so I could share some new I cannot speak anymore suddenly.
You're doing great. This is wonderful.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I've been practicing answering these questions, like how actors practice for Oscars. This is my Oscar, so
I'm flattered.
I'm just so thrilled to be here. But yeah, so more advice that I can offer, especially for new entrepreneurs, is you have to become visible. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs actually fail, is that they don't want to put their service or face out there. You have to be salesy. I hate being salesy. It's so cringe, as youngsters would say. But you have to be salesy. You have to put yourself out there, whether it's social media, networking, or freelancing platforms. Just put yourself out there and your services. Tell the world what you do, why you do it, how you do it, why they should hire you, things like this. Networking especially has a tremendous power turning your business upside down, I guarantee you. So at the moment at Ainoa, most of our clients are actually referrals. So people refer more clients to us. And we also have a partnership network, meaning that we have partners who do things that we don't, for example, photography, and they refer their clients to us, and we do the same in return. So forming partnerships is really, really crucial. I have 2 more tips, if I can still share.
Yes, you can. These are
amazing.
Awesome.
Lovely. First customers most likely will be someone from your friends and family. So ask around, and just, again, you can put it on personal Facebook that, hey, everyone, I started doing this, or Instagram or wherever, and just asking, because there always will be somebody in your nearest circle who's looking for your service or wants to help you out. And then from those first customers, this is really important. This is also something that a lot of companies, also existing companies, don't do, is that gather feedback to improve. Gather feedback from your clients, from the products or services you deliver. You can ask feedback for your logo or copy text or anything like that, but always ask for feedback. This is really key to the success and actually developing your services and products to become even better and resonate with more your clients. Just really get the feedback from day one.
Yeah, I would interject some humility is required to be able to process the feedback, at least for us anyway, right? Because you may hear things that you don't like, you don't want to hear. I got a great service. So
yeah,
no, absolutely. So networking, staying out in front, people do business with people, let them know who you are.
Yes.
Get some feedback.
Yeah.
It's a really good formula. Yeah. Do you feel, Salla, that if somebody is going to be going into this entrepreneurial direction, or even if they wanted to do work, is it important that they stay within their skill sets that they've acquired, that they're comfortable with, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, if you want to really succeed as an entrepreneur, you will have to wear a lot of hats. So
Yeah.
you have to be comfortable of doing everything and anything, especially at the beginning. You might not have the money to invest as a service, so you have to learn how to do it. So it's really good to keep up your curiosity throughout,
Mhm.
through and through. So just really keep it up. Keep asking questions. How could I do this better? How could I do this faster? How could I charge more money for this, or whatever it is? But just keep on learning. Never give up on learning. But when you become an entrepreneur, just prepare to be shocked. There's a lot of work. There always will be work.
Yeah.
A lot. There's so many things you need to improve and do, and so on. And once you have the basics running, you can start hiring people, you can start buying services and so on. So you don't need to have to use all of your valuable time to
Right.
do everything by yourself. But if you cannot afford to that, especially at the beginning, just be comfortable in wearing many hats. So long answer, but in short, it's kind of like impossible actually just to stay in your own little comfort zone if you want to be successful.
You've got to learn other skills, and you don't have to master them, do you? Right? You just got to know enough about. Yeah,
exactly.
Now that's great. So if you were to like have like you're a great example for just doing what you've done and the message that you're sharing. But with your success that you have, is there a message or messages that you have for other people that feel like, oh, I'm so limited by my conditions that I wouldn't be able to pull anything like this off?
I just first of all, I want to say that I feel you. I feel you. I've been told many times that you cannot, because of my disabilities. You cannot succeed. In fact, when I was younger, I was in so bad condition that the government actually suggested that maybe I should retire instead, because there's no way for me to succeed in my condition. And I'm here. I proved them all wrong. So really, just this goes again. I feel this goes again for into the why. Find your why. Why? What is the thing you want to do, and why? And really stick to that. And that's, as I said, it's powerful. At least for me, it has been. But if when someone says that you cannot, just tell them to stick it up their butt.
Yeah. And that's a global term phrase that people understand. So
Yes.
as you have gone through your business, are there any like stories of triumph, or like, okay, maybe that account, or maybe I passed this milestone, or maybe you have this, anything like that really stands out on your path, that's inspiring, that maybe other people could get some fuel from?
That's a really good one. I always encourage my team to dig up these, little triumphs during our one-to-ones, and there's no one else to ask these questions from me. I have to be the one who's asking them from myself from time to time. I think I could share one from the very beginning of my career, when I started as an entrepreneur in 2020. It was pandemic also, so it made running a business more difficult because of the limitations and things that changed all around the world. But I actually got one of the biggest clients that we still have to this day very quickly after I started freelancing. And it was through a freelancing platform, Upwork, actually. So I got to work with Johnson & Johnson, the big pharma client. because of my condition and my special skills that I have. They needed someone specifically who can understand the struggles of certain patients in this campaign, and they hired me on the spot. So I think that's one of my biggest triumphs, and I hope it's inspirational for anyone. So anything can happen. Just believe in yourself. Really, you can do it. I know you can.
That's very cool. Well, I mean, frankly, that's the reason why we hired you, because you got it, right? You know our audience, and and that. So, and the other thing I believe that people overlook is the experience that one has and what they've gone through with their condition, their limitation, and their family and their work experience. You know, getting through that just mentally, this is a recovery process there, and people can be super powerful, and they can leverage that experience like you were able to with Johnson and Johnson. So that's great. I have a short story that I want to share with you as we kind of get into the last phase here, but just a quick shout out to everybody that's listening out there. In a few moments, Erwin is going to, or perhaps already has been, collecting some questions for Salah. Any question that you might have, maybe you're looking at starting something, or you're in something, or you're struggling. You've offered to spend a few minutes to answer those. So if you haven't submitted your question, you can do that in the chat feature wherever you're watching this.
Is it here?
Here, there,
yeah, everywhere. Keep them coming.
keep them coming. But this is what I wanted to share with you. When I started this business in 2006 in June, I have this very vivid memory of walking out of my home office about 6 months into this, and I was at the point where I'm like, oh my God, I just cannot do this anymore. And what was wearing me down was I had a real challenge listening and to the stories of the decline in health, and with that income, and with that identity, and with that all that. I really had a hard time with it. But I made a comeback, as you know, I'm still here. So what helped me was my why, that really came to me. And I decided that I was going to give it 3 more months. And I was going to try to build and bring in members from the Disability Digest to work here. So the first person that I started with was in January of 2007. His name was Dennis Berry. And Dennis was amazing. I don't know if I was fortunate out of the gates, but he was an advocate. And Erwin, he's doing very similar work to you, calling, understanding people's needs and helping them out. But this guy, it was like every 5 or 6 weeks, he had a major medical event, and he would just get right back up. Heart attack, stroke, he got hit by a truck, just all kinds of things. So I'm like, Brian, you have absolutely no reason not to get your ass out of bed and come out here and do this, because it makes a difference. Because if Dennis can do it with everything that he's got going on, right? So that's why I'm here. But in addition to that, so I like to win. I like to help people win, whether it's helping them win their benefits, or maybe they're on a benefit package and they're not getting everything that they're entitled to. That's certainly rewarding. So that's my 2 cents and my why, and why I'm still here. So Before we start taking some questions, I want to, we're not done yet, but I want to thank you for the wealth of information that you have shared with us. I mean, you've given some really practical steps. I think the part about the why and finding your why will help people truly get the most out of whatever it is that they can do and bring to the table, whether they're able-bodied or with limitations or not. So that's cool. And then also just remind me, I'll shout this out again. They can find you on LinkedIn, right? For potential jobs. Okay.
Yes.
And so let's get into some questions, or when you're ready.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So we have one question here. Very interesting. I think you can relate to this, Salah. From Shayla. She said, thanks for sharing, Salah. I'm also a graphic and web designer with a passion for branding. I've put my freelance business on hold due to limitations and not being able to balance client projects and my health. So it's not really a question, but I think, just a kind of advice that you can share with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, amazing.
Shayla, thank you for sharing. I am really sorry to hear that there were difficulties in balancing your passions and in your condition. I hope you will find a way and time to try to realign and achieve the balance again, and you can do something, either this or something that you're truly passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nice. And then we have a couple of questions about being interested in actually like working with you. So definitely they can refer to the comment later for the link to your LinkedIn profile, right?
Yes. So please, you can add me on LinkedIn, and maybe you can share my bio page in the chat. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Or you guys can follow us on LinkedIn as well. We have a company page there where we announce all the vacancies, but I will also advertise them on LinkedIn. And then also just in general, guys, if you feel that you need that extra support, or just want to have somebody to chat with who's in the same situation or has been in the same situation, just absolutely feel free to reach out. Everyone needs some support every now and then.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to put this page in the YouTube chat, which is right here. That's
Me.
Good. All right. Proud of myself for doing that. Just one more thing quickly, Erwin, before we go on to the next question. If you're out there thinking about, oh my God, I don't want to make money because I might lose my benefits, whether it's an employment side or starting a business, we cover this extensively, and you can earn money and keep your benefits. It's part of the law. It's a regulation. It's actually, I think it's an ideal thing to do for aligning with your why, but also like giving you something to do and some juice. So if you have questions about that, you can just reach out to us and we'll get you the regulations to understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. There's one question raised by Lisa perfectly about that, Brian. She was asking if the benefits will be affected if you earn more than allowed. So yes, definitely we can guide her with this. And also she asked how to report earnings. Also certainly something we can provide some advice how she could do it.
Sure.
Yep.
Yep.
We have another question here. I'm not sure if either Salah or you, Brian, can answer this one. How do you go around financial limits upon your earnings?
Oh, like cheating? Is somebody asking us to tell them how to cheat? This is recorded. I don't know what your situation is, or if you care to speak to it, Salah, but I can definitely chime in.
Yeah, so I'm not getting any benefits. I'm all in this. But I can talk from previous experiences is that please follow the government guidance on this. Do not break any rules. Do not commit tax frauds. So that's my 2 cents and best advice I can give here.
Yeah. So this is my, if you're working as like a employee or a contractor and it's just you doing straight up work, you need to stay within the guidelines for sure. And one thing that I look at is, and I'll use one of our early success stories here was Michelle Toole. She had chronic fatigue syndrome, really bad. And she started healthy holistic living. And she just leveraged a little bit of time, but she's built that into a business, and I haven't spoke to her in years. But I remember where she was only able to do a limited amount of the work that the whole operation did. And so as you build a business and you become a corporation, you've created your own job and you have your own tasks. And all of the income goes into the company bucket, but you've got your role. And if your role stays within the regulations and your income, then it's totally fine. That's the way it's structured. Yeah. What's next, Erwin?
That's pretty much about it. Most of our viewers right now are just very thankful and so inspired by how Salah really shared her story. And I personally am very touched. Thank you, Salah, for the helpful advice and practical tips. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Like I said, this is my Oscars, so I'm very, very proud to be
Deserve
here
it.
today.
I wish I had an award to give you somewhere around here, had I known. But I'll give you my virtual Oscar for doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
So
It's
no,
right here. I put it on my desk.
This has been wonderful. Wonderful. So listen, just to recap, if you are looking for some type of work in a wonderful corporate culture environment, check out the openings that are available with Salah and her agency. And I would love to hear from people in the comments about, what you're going to do with this information. And Erwin, thank you for today. And of course, Salah, very grateful for you, totally inspiring. And I hope maybe I can get you to come back someday and
Absolutely.
do a part 2.
I would love to.
That would be great. That would be great. So everybody, thanks again for listening out there. We will be back